So here we are, a week later, with our Eclipse Lodi Zinfandel. It's been sitting in the primary fermenter for about 7 days. We did this last week, uh, late Sunday afternoon. And now we are ready to go to the second process, which is racking it into a carboy for the second fermentation. Basically, the instructions tells us once we get a specific gravity of 1.010 or less, we can go ahead and rack it down to our carboy for the second fermentation. If you look at the bubble, the airlock, you can see it is still bubbling, meaning that the yeast that we put in here, there is still fermentation going on. Not as much as it was when we first started. It started fermenting 24 to 40 hours later once we added the yeast, and it was really fermenting vigorously. But now you can see that the fermentation has kind of slowed down. So I've already cleaned and sanitized all the equipment that I actually need. As you can see, I have a carboy, which is a 6-gallon carboy here, where we're going to rack our wine into the secondary fermentation. I also have a hose that I clean and sanitize as well, and I have it going inside of my carboy. So the reason for that is we can transfer the wine in two different ways. We can siphon it using the spigot from the bucket, which will actually go into the carboy. And as you can see, the spigot is really about an inch away from the bottom. And the reason for that is, so when you're actually transferring your wine to your secondary fermentation, or any of your other carboys, you don't want any of the sediment from the bottom to get in your wine. So you want your wine to be as clear as possible as you continue the secondary fermentation and the destabilizing it and all that good stuff like that. Also, what I have is a auto siphoner and things. And basically it does the same thing. They come in different sizes. This is one of a larger one that I have. And basically you stick this down inside of your bucket. It'll probably go to about right there, because you don't want it to go to the bottom as well. And you'll stick the end of the hose in there, and basically all you do is just pump it until you get all the wine filled up in the tube, and it'll automatically start siphoning the wine into the carboy. So I'm just going to show you that setup as well once we crack this open and everything. So just set that down for right now. So let's go to get started. So first of all, we're going to do, we're going to crack this open and see where our specific gravity is at. You smell the wine as I crack this open. You can take a look at that. As you can see, we still have the grape skins in there that we put in there during the primary fermentation. Still doing a little bit of fermenting, but not a lot. So like I said earlier, the first thing we want to check is to make sure that our specific gravity, okay, is 1.010 or less. As you can see here, there's a 1.000, okay, and then there's the 10. So anything above that 10, that means we're good, and we can go ahead and start racking the wine to our secondary. And so basically what we want to do, we just take our thermometer, dip it, and we spin it. And as it's it's spinning, then what's going to happen is it's going to pretty much stop and give us a reading. Then that's going to let us know if we reached our specific gravity. And looking at this here, it looks like we're probably at about, we're just at 1.00. Yep, So we hit our specific gravity, so we're good. So we can go ahead and continue and go ahead and rack our wine to our secondary fermenter. Okay. So before we do that, we have to take our grape skins out. Okay. Here, it's our bag of grape skins. And as you can see, there's all that goodness coming out. All of that goodness. We want to get as much of that goodness as we can to come out. I'm just gently squeezing the bag itself. Just to kind of get all of that juice come out of there. And if you look, as it's dripping, into our wine, it's kind of hazy and things, which is okay, because we're not going to transfer this wine to our carboy immediately. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to let this sit for about 10 minutes and things, because what's going to happen is all of the sediment that comes from the bag and from the yeast and things of that nature there, where we just squeeze in here, we want to give it time to settle at the bottom and things. So once we do that, once we let it settle and everything, then what we'll do, we'll come back and we'll actually transfer it from our primary to our secondary. So I'll be back in about 10 minutes and we'll continue with the process.